Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live episode of What's Really Going On in America. Host Quinn and
I'm Johnny. I'm here again. There's no storms threatening the well-being of my house this week.
and, and Marcus. You'll have to turn on your sound.
All right. Hey, everybody. Marcus C. Williams here.
Welcome.
And by the way, if you want to support this show, everyone, get yourself a Human Lives Matter T-shirt. Because, well, we're human beings, regardless of our skin color. And so Marcus, you are running for city council in your area.
I am indeed. So I live in Rochester, New York, and it is a very serious city. The crime is, how can I say it in a nice manner? Suboptimal, I guess, is the way that I would say it nicely.
We're gonna get along
Um,
great. We are gonna get along so
yeah.
great.
It's you guys, it's pretty rough. And the worst part of it is our city council here completely refuses to acknowledge that we have any crime. And that's the not only a slap in the face to the public, it's also like if you wanted to even fix a issue, like the first step is admission. You got to admit that there's a problem. So they won't do that, and they don't come out and say anything. It's we had the high priestess Kathy Hochul come here the other day, and she was like, "Crime is down," and I'm like, why did you come here to lie to us like that? Like, whose face are you playing in? Like, stop, And our mayor comes out, and this isn't any shade at the mayor, but he uses Cook statistics. Like that's just a fact. Like he's like his what he does is he says, "Oh well, the shooting deaths are down, right? Like shooting deaths." But they're not. They just found what 2 days ago like 76 shell casings in one day in our city. Like what is going on? Like I understand it's a couple of different incidents, but that's a lot of shell casings to find. We had the a couple years ago, about 2 years ago, our current police chief, then the deputy police chief, was at a forum, and this sticks in my head to this day. He says if people really knew how often the shot spotter goes off in the city, nobody would even come. I said that's tragic. I said
And,
that is a firm rebuke.
well, that's
And
kind of sounds
yeah, go on.
like our mayor debates here in Allentown. You got one person in city council who could bring up legislation right now if he wanted
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
um to fight against a tyrannical mayor, but he wants to wait until he becomes mayor to do it. I
Yeah.
mean, which admits that the current mayor has problems, and then you have another mayor that tells the same lies.
Right, and if they have the power to do it now, why would you possibly believe that they're going to do it later?
Because you have to pass the bill to know what's in it.
Right.
If I were you and I think alike in this, in your one episode you said that when you're in city council you're going to bring up legislation to make your area better, and I would do the same thing if I was Ed Zuko of Allentown right now.
to
Mhm.
be
Mhm.
fair, I learned some very important things while I was in
Ah.
Rochester. I knew somebody who was studying at Rochester Institute of Technology, which anybody from the area knows they are a school for the deaf. So they teach sign language. So I learned very important things like platypus,
Mhm.
and most importantly, because we are talking politics tonight. Ah, my cord's too short. Bullshit.
Yeah.
So I wasn't shot at, but I was run off the road. That was cool. I was borrowing my dad's truck, and he probably would have unalived me if it got wrecked. So yeah, that was my experience in Rochester back in 2005.
Well, you got there. You were here before the real party arrived.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say I haven't been there in a hot minute. So like, I mean, I'm old, man. Like, we're doing college things, and so yeah, fun times. That throughway though, that gets the blood pressure going.
oh man, yeah. It's interesting. We have a very unique city, but when it comes down to elected officials, it's like they've completely forgotten our actual city, like our citizens. They're more concerned about literally everybody else. For some of you out there watching in internet land, you might have seen my city on the TV a couple weeks ago, where our mayor got up on the TV with the police chief and he was reprimanding officers for actually assisting a call the where the Homeland Security investigations actually called for backup. So he got on the television and he was like, "Oh yeah, they can't do that. We're a sanctuary city." And then Tom Homan was like, "Yeah, no, that they did exactly what they're supposed to do." And now apparently the federal government is suing our city. That's fun. you know and it's like, this is ridiculous. Like, do you think that our city should be prioritizing illegal aliens when we've got crime running rampant, educational system that is failing our children and stealing our future, and we've got no focus on local entrepreneurial or small business development, so we don't have any real serious jobs here. Like, the
Oh,
complete focus is wrong.
well, hey, at least in the education system today, at least they know about BLM, transgenderism, and what's the other useless lessons in school these days?
Oh man,
Hey,
there's what?
I was gonna say I learned how to sign language, platypus, and bullshit. Like I you know what? I am set for life. It's the same thing. Like with my Spanish, I know how to know for. I can ask for food, beer, and the bathroom. Like the three main things you're gonna need. Like if you're in a Spanish
What?
speaking
You don't
area.
know how to ask for the library?
Uh, I do actually. It's not in my brain at the moment. I got mild autism, so I apologize.
Hmm. All
Yeah,
right, we'll take your excuse this
well,
time.
You have to. You
yeah,
have to
that's
because the
the
left says so. If you
education
don't accept
system
yeah, if you don't
that's
accept it, you're
failing
an
us.
ableist or some stupid word.
And, oh, and of course, now see if you agree with me on this one, Marcus. People who go to college usually they used to call it higher education. They still do
Hmm.
today. I call it higher indoctrination.
It's true.
Well, the one thing that is correct, it's higher. Yes, they Marcus gets it.
I get it. Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yes. The all of the
So
mind
it's no
altering
wonder
drugs.
why the American dream is being killed in today's world in both of our areas.
Yeah. Well, this is what happens when you have officials in government that prioritize their own pockets and their benefactors over the actual citizens. That's why our government is collapsing on top of the people and crushing them. A lot of people are like, "Oh, well, the government's got their boots on our neck." And one thing I realized is it's not so much that the government has their boots on our neck, it's that the government is collapsing under the weight of its own self. So it's too big, it's too much of a monstrosity. And one of the best examples I can give you here in Rochester is our assembly people. We're in upstate New York. If you guys aren't familiar with where we are and you're watching, Western New York. Let me not offend North Country. They'll come on and they'll be like, "Hey, that's not upstate."
Yeah, they will. They will. I've been to Rochester and I've been up like Tug Hill area. Yeah, it's complete. It's like a completely different nation.
Yes. But yeah, so it's what's happening is we're facing a situation where our local elected officials are bowing the knee to the state assembly in New York City, to the state senate from New York City. Like they can't even get the priorities of our own regions right because they're too worried about what somebody downstate thinks instead of representing our people. So they might not be good people in and of themselves, right? Like I'm not singing their praises and saying like they're being chained to a wall and forced to do it. But the fact of the matter is they are completely under the thumb of these other people while at the same time serving their own best interests. That's what we got.
And and that's been going on for and you know what? People think that, oh yeah, our founding fathers fought for our freedoms, blah blah blah. But it's been happening since the beginning of our government
Mhm.
when the founding fathers argued about slavery. It wasn't even about the black person or whatever back then. It was about money. And it's always been about money.
Yep. It's always about money. What do you
Yeah,
think, Johnny?
because
It's always about money. Do you remember Rush Hour? Follow the Rich White Man.
Yeah. Yes.
Is it sad that like that is actually like logical way of thinking about things right now? Like, all right, who's getting rich, and
Yep.
why are they getting rich?
Well,
Quinn and I have talked about
yeah.
it so many times. How do you go into a job where you're dirt broke, AOC, and now you're
Hmm.
on paper you're a millionaire at $174,000 a year. Well, I think they got a raise, but we're just gonna say 174 because that's the number in my brain right now. Please tell me
You know, uh,
how
hey,
you're
make it
now
make.
worth. I mean, look, I own I own a home. It appreciated in value since I bought it. 10 years ago. But that's not like, and that's a net worth thing. But what the hell did she buy in the few years she's been in office that appreciated in value so much? And if you want to claim that as your net worth, Miss AOC, for example, I'm just going to pick on her because I don't like her. So what you're saying is you're perfectly okay with property values going up when it benefits you, not when the everyday citizen can't get an apartment to rent because, I don't know, we're just going to market value the shit out of everything. And this one
Mhm.
bedroom in a crappy neighborhood is now all of a sudden worth $2,000 a month when before, in reality, it's worth $700.
Facts.
hmm. Yeah, so what else? So what else? So wait, thinking here. So your city council, I gotta know,
Hmm.
are they career politicians?
Oh man, brother. Oh. Okay. So okay. Let's dive into it, and I'll be as generous as possible. Okay. We've got two opens.
That
We've
sounds
got
scary,
two.
by the way.
It is because I'm going to do my best to share with everybody as direct and specific truths as possible without going into my concepts of these individuals themselves or what they
Hmm.
represent. So, that being said, we've got two open socialists. We've got one quasi socialist. We've got and the quasi socialists and one of the socialists are also running for one's running for re-election, open socialist. The quasi socialist is running for mayor this year. Fun with that. And then we've got another one, um and they're running a nonprofit that the city and the county gives money to. I'm not throwing any shade on them. I'm just stating this is a fact. Okay. And we have to ask about priorities and
Mhm.
KPIs when it comes to that. And I have no, there's like, this isn't any shade or anything. Like, I just want to make sure that the money that's being given is being spent in the most impactful way to the community. That's all. So, but in
So,
all fairness to
wait,
them,
you
they
just
seem.
said
Mhm.
so you just said they're throwing money at a nonprofit organization in your area?
Oh, a ton of them. But I was just saying that somebody on there works for one, and I didn't even get to another one that works for another one. So it's also highly funded by the city and the county, and so it's like it's crazy. It's crazy, and then we got another one works for the school district. So it's like you really, when you see what's going on, you have to start asking questions. And the best example that I can give is the two socialists and the quasi socialists started to do hearings because it's election year and two of them are running for election, right? So they've done hearings about, oh, public
Mhm.
safety and housing. All of the sudden, you've been in office this whole time. You haven't said anything. Magic like that. We've got the a big issue here is the animal. What do you call it? The pound, right? It's called something else. Whatever it's called. You know what I'm talking about. The
The
pound.
the
So
animal shelters.
animal shelter. There we go. So that's a big issue here. So they wanted to have a hearing about that. Well, but the people have like we've got this one group, Voices for the Voiceless of Verona, or I'm always say the name wrong, but those guys, they're great. Okay, it's a bunch of ladies and men that are advocating for better care, upkeep, and more investment in our animal center, and that's important. We need that. So all of a sudden they're running, and now, bing, bang, boom, now we've got a hearing on it because, it gets them in the news and makes them look like they're doing something and they've cared this whole time. When you've got to ask, where's been that interest? And you ask, were they career politicians? I'm not going to say no, but the answer is definitely very close to yes. We've got one person on there that was a county legislator. Then they were on city council for, I don't even know. We're talking probably this is like their third or fourth term. So we're talking probably like 12 years. We got another one that's been on there, I don't know, at least, what are we? At least 8 years. And this is the terms are 2 years for the, or 4 years for this. So it's not long. But when you're hopping positions, and we have a terrible issue in our city where people like to hop positions from city council to the county ledge to the school board and back and forth. The school board, our mayor currently, okay, was on the school board for like 8 years. He was the president of the school board. And we're not going to dig down into that and maybe later in the episode, but he was the president of the school board, then was on city council, and now he's the mayor currently. After our other mayor got in trouble because her husband was selling drugs and was an operator. I'm trying to make sure I say it the way that it was said. Was an operator in a medium level criminal enterprise. This is this is what it was said officially, and I'm just like, Lord help us. Lord help us, because it's the level of insanity that's here in politics, and that's without removing removing the top layer, right? This is all top layer, high level stuff. Like if we start to really dig down, or we flip it over and see the seedy underbelly, like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. But yeah, that's what we're looking at here. It's crazy, Quinn.
And let me guess, you go to the city hall meetings, and 9.8 out of 10 times, they talk about how to spend the tax money that they receive, but never talk about actual issues that matter to the people.
I wish they talked about the money and how they're going to spend it. They don't talk about that. That just gets done in some committee, and then they vote on it where you can't even see the stuff that's being really voted on. There's supposed to be updating the website. But they just vote on it in committee. It comes to the floor, and then it gets passed, and nobody knows what it is. And it's happened so fast. It's a pain. It's a pain. We also have the problem of them selling properties that are worth tens of thousands of dollars at least, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for $1 to developers. And like you said, follow the rich white man, see who's getting wealthy. There's a saying in law, like in the legal community in lawfare, you say cui bono, right? Who benefits, right? So the question is, who benefits? You're giving away
Hmm.
properties for $1. I have $1. Do you guys got $1? Would you like some property? They're giving it. You say you don't
I
have
got a
$1,
dollar.
Johnny.
Hey, Quinn. Apparently, we're gonna buy some property in New York. It's on me.
Listen, it's ridiculous.
It's cheaper than a beer, and since you don't drink, I mean, I think it's fair.
Why not? Why does that sound so familiar to what Allentown does?
You,
Uh,
you, you mean like what they did with
a
the Allentown
developer
Hospital
buys
property?
property downtown Allentown, only to sell it for thousands of dollars more after they do some work on it, just to make
Oh
it
wow.
look nice enough to sell for thousands, and make big
Hmm.
time money.
So what happened with the
It,
hospital in
it,
downtown?
So they had it was like a mental health hospital. It was a state-run
oh
hospital.
yeah.
The property fell into disrepair because government. They
We've
was
got one of those.
It was purchased by a developer for a very, very low price. They allegedly paved some roads, maybe put up a couple of signs, and then sold it back to the city for millions of dollars in profit.
Huh.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Basically, people like me bought it with my tax money against my will.
Mhm.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh,
You know,
it's very
Oh,
fun.
isn't it?
it's
It's no
disappointing.
wonder why local businesses downtown Allentown can barely, stay in business at all. Many of them leave. And it's so funny because we have here in the Lehigh County, we have Saquon Barkley, who's now on the Eagles, and the city of Allentown gave him this key to the city, and his mother started the business, but it's in Bethlehem, where it's
Uh,
driving, not here in Allentown.
Yeah,
That's you know,
that's actually that's
that's
it's kind of funny
what
actually.
yeah. What do they call
Yeah.
that, Johnny? Focused investment?
Well, I mean, like
Hmm.
we had discussed
Yeah.
this, on a prior episode. Like, okay, you gave the NFL guy the key to the city, and his mom wanted to start a business. Well, one, she's not obligated to open up a business within that city because you gave her son something. She's a business person, so we felt
Right.
perhaps just maybe that the business she was opening had a better demographic in the next town over. Um,
Uh-huh.
better economics. Maybe the cultural demographic fit better. I don't know. I'm not her, but apparently they're doing well. So if they're doing well, that means they did market research and like, okay, well, we could totally open up this business right here and go bankrupt in a year and a half, or we can go 15 minutes east, open it up over there, and actually make some money, actually have a proper business, actually have something to provide jobs and maybe give back to the community. I don't know. They don't seem like scumbags to me. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
And it's my guess that in your area, something similar with businesses is going on.
Oh yeah. We've got this. So, if you guys aren't familiar, if you're watching, you're not familiar with Rochester, we're the home of Xerox and Kodak. If you are
Yeah.
older than a 2000s baby. You might know what those two companies are. So Xerox and Kodak were huge. I mean, not like big companies, like think like Google level huge.
Yeah, they
Okay,
weren't
so they
the companies.
yes, they were the companies, you know. So they were huge and they really were the companies that held down and anchored Rochester for decades. When those companies started to wane, we lost industry and lost a lot of population here in the city. So we went down from like 325,000 to now, over the last 30 years, now we're about 190 something thousand, you know. So it's gone down substantially. And what's happened is in the last couple of decades, the city has been focusing on bringing people from other places to Rochester to start businesses. So like let me rephrase that. Their goal is to bring businesses that are established from other places to Rochester. Well, that's not good investing strategy because that means that if they decide they don't like it here or they don't like the crime or we don't have enough skilled tooled people, all of these are real issues. If we don't have those things, then they'll just take their ball and go home, you know?
Yeah,
So
they
in
pick up and bounce and screw the community. We
Yep.
tried, it didn't work for us. It was too expensive. It was too this. It was too that, and they leave and they go somewhere that's going to cater to them, whether it be with tax benefits, whether it be whether employees feel safe going to work, whether the infrastructure surrounding their facility works. I mean, Kodak is massive in RIT. RIT is one of the number one photography schools in the country, if not the
Yep.
number one. And I know they're very top ranked in the
And,
world.
and it's my guess that you're getting like big time developers that have money here in Allentown. We have PPNL Center, one of the biggest attractions we have, and now we just open up Orchard, which is like my goodness, kind of like a show, like a place where you can watch shows and stuff, kind of like New York City. They're trying to turn Allentown into a mini New York City.
Ah,
Not going to happen.
so
Demographic
they
says
they're
no.
they're always trying to
And
create
let's not
new.
forget the
Mhm.
luxurious apartments too that no one can afford downtown
Yep,
Allentown.
happening here too.
Gentrification
Jeez,
is
and
like gentrification is real.
yep,
And, and it's one of those things where like as the person I am, I feel empathy for, these communities where, some hipster with a beard shows and opens up a coffee shop and everybody knows they're fucked.
yep, 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 yep.
Because it's all downhill from there. Once the bougie coffee shop opens up, next thing you know, you got luxury high rises, Mercedes everywhere, and all the people who built that community and tried to hold that community together are forced out because they can no longer afford to be there. And now
True.
you want all of those people who can't afford to live there to now commute into your now very nice area to work for pennies so you can have your bougie coffee, your fancy high rise, and so rich people can feel like they're important. And I'm a capitalist. I love capitalism,
Mhm.
but I'm also a realist where I will point out, like, all right, so you took all the people who live here, you forced them to the outskirts. Most of them were no car, probably not even a driver's license because they had no need for one, so they just run in an ID. Now they got to worry about commuting to work, where they used to just
Oh
walk.
man.
They used to just walk a couple of blocks. If they worked at a grocery store, whatever business they're working at. Again, it doesn't matter. But now you have these people. Now they're forced out. They're going to still come back into the city, spend a massive percentage of what little income they do make on commuting. Also, we're going to go back to it again. I'm going to keep saying it. The rich white man can have a fancy city and say, look what we did to Rochester, or look what we did to Allentown, look what we did to Boulder. We brought a bunch of rich people in here who want to make big, expensive things, but we want to pay people pennies to make sure we're comfortable. we're just killing cities. Like I loved, I don't know if you saw Quinn's episodes with where we were talking about the mayoral debate down here in Allentown. All they kept talking about investment, investment, investment. Yeah, that sounds really cool on paper, but all you're doing is you're alienating your core citizenry because they won't be
Yep.
able to afford to live there. The house I live in right now, if I didn't buy when I bought, I could not afford to buy in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
No.
that's just because of market. And yeah, the market does what it does, but these people are deliberately going into these areas and essentially pricing them out. I mean, look, I'm not
Hey,
saying
are
that
you guys
systemic.
on?
Yeah, I'm here. Where'd Quinn go?
Oh no, he left. What happened?
All right.
Maybe
Well,
come back.
all right. Well, I guess it's just
So
us right now. We're just gonna talk shit on
yeah,
the rich white guy. You cool about that? He'll come back.
yeah,
No.
he'll
So
pop back in.
it's just kind of crap that if you're even remotely conservative, obviously capitalism. We're a fan of that. Socialism bad, but then we also outright allow this nonsense to happen where we're kicking
Yep.
people essentially kicking people out of their homes because they come in like, oh well, developer bought this building and the rent that you've been paying forever, which has been totally fine for the last 15 years, we're going to triple it. Oh, what's that? You can't
Yep.
afford it? That's cool. Get out. We're gonna bring in somebody who can. We're gonna put in a new refrigerator. The rent that you've been paying. He's back.
Yeah, sorry. I had a little glitch on the computer.
It was the CIA. It was the CIA.
They heard you. They
You
heard
know
what you were
what?
talking about.
Oh crap! Now,
Oh yeah,
oh
betraying Trump and us.
crap! Now I got the big picture. Now I have to be presentable. Son of a bitch. See, I told you the all black shirt was a good thing because normally you only see me from here up. now you can see the chest. So like, normally there's like offensive things written on there, and typical redneck nonsense.
Hey man, at least you're not shirtless underneath all those
Oh,
clothes.
there you go.
I mean,
All right, there you go.
all right. Yeah. See, now we're good.
All right.
Now
now I'm
I
a
feel
hamburger.
okay again.
Now keep in mind, I just learned this 2 seconds ago.
Yeah,
But,
we wing it every week.
But yeah, what did I miss while I was away?
we were talking crap on rich white people, and ruining cities and forcing out the people who built those cities and have sustained those cities because they come in with their investments and they say, oh, okay, well, your rent's now tripled. Oh, you can't afford it? Get out. And the same things we're dealing with in Allentown with the investments, which we were saying sounds great on paper, but is it really beneficial for the citizens of that area? Yes, it's going to bring in tax revenue because that's honestly that's all I feel we are. All three of us,
Yep.
we are tax slaves. They want us to have jobs. They want us to have good paying jobs. Why? So they can charge us more in taxes. Yes, it's going to bring in tax revenue because that's honestly that's all I feel we are. All three of us, we are tax slaves. Well, that's a big delay.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Property taxes is the one thing that has got to go.
Property taxes,
Think about
income
it.
taxes.
You're paying rent to a landlord that doesn't even own your property, and then you get kicked out if you don't pay your rent to the government on your own property.
Oh, that's right.
Well,
I forgot.
the question is,
that
do
this
What
was
do you
on.
think about that, Mark?
Well, the question is, do you ever really own your property if that's the case? And we were just talking about how people are being moved out of their neighborhoods and communities, and that's exactly what they want. I encourage you all to watch this series. It's a great series. It's called Incorporated. It was critically acclaimed. It was a fantastic show, and they canceled it after one season because it was too much like the very near future that we're getting into. It's crazy because it was like like the show really did well. It had high viewership and everything, but they canceled it because it was too much like right. So what happened? They pushed all of the less moneyed people, right? uh, all of the poors, right? They pushed all of the poors out of the city. And so it was only for the very, very wealthy, and it was all nice and shiny and everything was great. But if you lived out in in the wild, you were in the slums and it was really, really bad. And they even put up barriers so they wouldn't have to see the slums. So and that's the direction that we're going, because you ask where are all these displaced people going to go, and nobody has an answer for you. So this is what's going to happen. This is the
And,
direction that it's going. Go on, you were going to say, Quinn?
and that's something I yelled at my city hall about last Wednesday. I told them, you always talk about how to spend money, but you don't talk about issues that actually affect us. You're not doing your job that we pay you to do. And I took a shot at Ed Zuko, even though he's a nice guy, but I'm still gonna call him out because he could at least fight for us, even though he may be against some socialists in the shares. But overall, it, it's almost, and I mean, wow. Let's just say I was you're more gracious with your city council than I'll ever be with mine.
Yeah, I try to be very generous, you know, because I tell you, I got some really serious thoughts and feelings about the matter. Okay, you talked about should we even have property tax? Absolutely not. You bought it, you should own it outright. You shouldn't have to keep paying. Imagine if they were paying you for those eggs that you bought on that you were forced to keep paying taxes for all the eggs that you've ever bought, Like, oh man, you bought that bread last on Tuesday. You still got some slices left. Roll off of 50 cents, for those slices of bread that you still got. And it's crazy that this is the state that we live in right now and how things are, because the same thing is true with income tax, right? Like, we already get taxed enough. We got gas tax, we got what do you call it, sales tax, we got this tax, we got that tax. All of the fees in New York are outrageous. You got this fee and that fee and a fee for that fee. And if you want to go pee, you got a fee for that too. It's just like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So New York is scamming us all, and I really wish, and I looked this up. I've been looking at this. I've been trying to figure out how to get a lawsuit going, but for no taxation without representation. But it turns out that you can't actually win on that. So I got to figure out a way to make that happen. So, because
Hmm.
I live in a city that's been run by Democrats for 57 years. So I'm a registered Republican. I'm the chairman of the city Republican Party. I am a hardcore conservative. Okay, and I identify as a conservative futurist, and I'm an American nationalist, and I'm a Christian. So none of these people on here represent me. I have no representation. And I go there and I complain specifically about issues very specific all the time, like the crime. So I'm not being represented. Like, why am I being taxed not being represented? But then they use your tax for what? Most of my property taxes, you know where they go? To the school district. The school district is super terrible. It's tragic. We have a 67% graduation rate, okay? And that's a lie. So it starts off being a lie because we've got like a 54 to 57% dropout rate. Okay, so that's crazy. So that 67% is an automatic lie. That's 67% of the less than 50% that stayed in the school graduate. Craziness. Then on top of that, everybody, it's a common held belief that 67% is a cooked number. So my money is going to pay for these youth to become disenfranchised and what do you call it? Completely dissatisfied and lacking seeing any opportunity in life. So many of them go to crime, they go to drugs, and you're essentially encouraging my money to be used to allow that to happen. Why would I want that? And I don't have any kids I don't have any children right now. And if I did, they would not be going to public school, and they definitely wouldn't be going to Rochester public schools. So why is my money being spent on these public schools when I got all these potholes outside of my house?
I love this man.
Wow.
I absolutely love this
Are
man.
you sure you're not talking about the roads of Allentown there?
Can
Because I just took pictures of some potholes.
Can we send like a moving van, like bring him to Pennsylvania? Like, I think he would do very well here in Pennsylvania. I mean, he's going to deal with the same political problems, but at least he can have a gun.
There you go. There you go. Don't get me started on that. They've passed some new laws. Oh my God. Like they just stacking on these anti-Second Amendment laws. It's crazy.
Oh, I guess they forgot the part where it says shall not be infringed. Or maybe they forgot what the definition of shall not be infringed actually means.
We could
listen. They don't care. They don't care.
We could do an entire episode on New York gun laws. All I'm going to say is a friend of mine who is a detective in New York State, I'm not going to say where, is not allowed to own the rifle he carries on duty.
Yep.
That's all I'm going to say. Even the cops can't own what they carry. Because remember, good for me, not for thee. Typical government bullshit.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And that's the big issue. We've got all of these people in government running around demanding rules that they don't even follow, like Cuomo and Kathy and their parties during COVID and, and all of that nonsense. And then we've got a budget that's more than, what is it, Texas and Florida combined? Like, are we serious? Was it $254 billion or some nonsense? Ridiculous. It's atrocious. And then you got the comptroller. Like the comptroller is Democrat in New York State too. Like we live in a Democrats run state. But the comptroller is like, listen, like we don't have any money. Stop spending money. Like stop it. And the other day, I guess he found they found like a ton of medical supplies that have been purchased during COVID, just sitting in warehouses, just languishing, that are useless, that you can't even use. Many of them expired, that are past their use date and stuff like that. And he's like, you guys, like our money, like you're crushing us. Like, and now they're talking about $254 billion. Where are you going to get that money from? Everybody's leaving. And the people.
They'll just make a quick call to the Federal Reserve. Print it, please.
Listen, go on.
I would say I have a personal vendetta against your comptroller.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very very big vendetta.
Tell the story.
Well, let's just say that allegedly they prosecute and create cases based off of what's going to get them elected.
Mm-hmm.
And there is currently somebody sitting in federal prison on bullshit charges because somebody needed a case for an election.
So that's the comptroller or the attorney general?
Comptroller.
Oh, wow.
Comptroller is the one that initiated the investigation, which I'm not a lawyer. I fix cars for a living. So essentially, what do I do in my job? I have something broken put in front of me. I have to figure out the puzzle pieces, put it together, and make it functional again. I was in court during a couple of the court sessions for this person that they went after, and it was bogus. And then it just proved that the court system at the federal level was bullshit too. But it really came down to it was a grandstanding event because how do I even know what a comptroller is? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because somebody I know is in prison. Maybe. And I'm going to say allegedly. I'm not going to give out any
Mm.
details because allegedly this person is getting out of prison because they were locked up unjustly. Shocking.
So you guys do you guys know you were talking about the gun laws and now we're talking about people getting unjustly detained.
You
Now,
you
do you
you
guys
mean you, you
have
mean how the government just does whatever it wants and will screw over absolutely anybody who doesn't have enough money to pay for the good lawyer?
it's terrible, isn't it? So
Red
there's a
so I always say rednecks and people from the inner city are so alike. We do what we have
mm-hmm.
to survive. And I don't understand the pushback that we get from media, like, oh, well, you guys should hate each other. Rednecks hate people from the city. People from the city hate rednecks. Like, yo, we're kind of the same if you really look
Yep.
at it. Like, same, but different. Aha! Quinn, see? Quinn,
I
he gets
I
it.
love that
He gets
movie.
it.
Yes,
Yo,
We were
that's
talking about that.
great.
We
so
were talking about that
Marcus,
pre-show.
I would
Told
like
you I would
I
work
would
that
like
in.
to know. So I would like to know, what are you gonna do if you get into city council? And I hope you do, because I would like to visit your town without getting shot by everyone.
He's
Well,
gonna go.
listen,
He's gonna
I'm
burn it
working
down.
hard to make a difference. My first thing to be would be to two of my first things. My first, very first thing is to put forward a proclamation for us to declare that crime is wrong and robbery is wrong.
I can't.
Okay.
I
And
can't believe we
shooting
have to do
people and
this.
stabbing people and breaking into property, like that's wrong. Like, cause I feel like, and I say I feel like, but it's not. I feel like I'm being generous, right? Because it's very clear that these people have forgotten that these things are wrong. So we need to reassert that these things are wrong. Like that's the first step, is to assert that they are wrong, and then I'm going to follow it up with legislation to actually create a local area where we have these criminals that are stealing these cars and all of this other shenanigans. Like, we make it illegal for them to do that. Since the state won't do it, we will here. Like, we were talking about the sanctuary city thing. Very clearly, the city is more than willing to pass laws that violate federal law, right? So this law doesn't violate any laws. It just says that they need to be held here. And it's similar concept to how you have it in certain counties where the sheriffs are. I'd like to make us our own county. That's a separate conversation. But we go to like a precinct type of situation, kind of like New York City has, where we have different smaller jails inside different areas. Okay, because we do not have the amount of holding capacity that we need, and we have a city jail, but the city jail is essentially like a county jail. It's more of a prison type of situation than an actual jail. um I mean, you're talking like medium security type of situation is what we got down there, so it might as well be a prison.
Hmm.
So, but we don't have jails, and a lot of these youth, especially, need to be in jail. They need to be held. They need to be detained. Like, people are like, "Oh, well, they don't need to." Yes, they do. You know why? Because it's not about them. It's about everybody else. And people see that that type of behavior is very prevalent and nobody is getting punished for it. It encourages more people to go out and do that crime. So the state can go ahead and see if getting this passed means that the state would have to sue us to stop it. And I'd love the state to have to defend themselves to the next people when they run for state assembly and state senate in the next session. Okay, talking about you don't want to lock up criminals. I'd love them to run on that. Say the city passed a law where these criminals have to be detained. And you're fighting against that? I want them to defend that. That's what I want. I want them to defend that because they need to be held accountable. So I'd love to see this law passed, even if it's only for the state to say, no, we're going to sue you about it. Go ahead because there's an election coming up, and I guarantee you won't get elected again. Saying some crazy nonsense.
I
That's my start.
I owe you all the beers right now. Like if you're a beer drinker, I owe you all the beers. Like all the metaphorical beers are coming your way. Like you make too much sense. Stop doing that.
I know, right?
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that, especially if you're running for any kind of office. Like, wait, what? What? He's saying things that make sense.
Yep.
What the hell is wrong with him? He must have been dropped on his head. He's got a concussion.
Oh, so educate, legislate them being locked up regardless of age, because we're not going to have compassion on criminals. We're going to have compassion on victims. And then the next thing you want to do for your town
is focusing on, it's twofold, right? So it's focusing on small business and entrepreneurial investment. So focusing on that will create more jobs. And that goes in hand with tooling our youth in education and getting them into these jobs that are hiring. So there's a lot of state work, and I'm not about taking state money and stuff like that or whatever the case is for different programs. But there is state and federal workforce development monies out there. There are these companies that are willing to hire and train youth for the positions that they have open. So we need to actually create a system in which the youth don't have to do that in school, and they can do this as an alternative option. Because in my head, again, making sense, right? School is supposed to educate. School is supposed to educate you so you can become a productive member of society and get a job. Perish the thought that you'd be able to get a job without going to school. I mean, they're not going to school right now. We have a truancy rate of like 64%. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, they're clearly not going to school. So if we can get them to go to a program where they can work and actually be a productive member and make some money in their pocket, let them do that. Let them do that. So the concept is that the education is supposed to allow for them to provide for themselves. But we've got kids that are graduating that are functionally illiterate. They're not able to read, write, or do basic math. So this program would be able to get them to be able to accomplish what they need to get into these jobs that are out there, and they can work these jobs while they're being trained. Again, because there's workforce development money here. Our city loves to talk about workforce development money. So there's workforce development money for these things. And guess what? They're going to get paid by the company. The company will get a little bit of money back too, maybe a lot of bit of money. But on top of that, now we've got somebody that's got a job that's actually working. And now they're paying into the tax base. So perish the thought that we actually make productive members of society, and perish the thought that we actually fill some of these jobs that we have out there where there are companies looking to hire people. But it's so restrictive. So we need to set them up in the best possible situation so that they have the opportunity to thrive. So that would be my second thing, is create a program like that. With that, also in tandem with that, also more tutoring more tutoring available at our rec centers and stuff like that. We might even need to do a whole. Mm-hmm.
Are you saying that kids should actually learn instead of being indoctrinated to just obey everything the government tells them?
Listen, I went to a event the other day, maybe about 2-3 weeks ago now, where they had it was one of our what do you call them? I guess commissioners, one of the school board commissioners, right? Like, they're running for office, but they had like a meeting, a community concerns meeting. So one of my concerns was all of the alphabetism in the schools. And what are we doing to prevent that from being in our schools? Not because I want to prevent it from being in the schools, like I can't get to that part of the conversation. It's because we're taking that and prioritizing those type of things when they can't read, can't write, and can't do basic math. So, I mean, I'd figure that is more important than learning about being asexual or dressing up a as a mascot and getting it on with somebody else. I just, it's a priorities thing for me, and I just think
Oh
that
yeah,
I just think
I
that doesn't.
agree.
That's just not in
We
the.
definitely need a better education system.
It's just it's priorities, and I got into it with a lady that was there, and she's like, "Well, that's what's going on in the outside world, so that should be what's going on in there." And I didn't go at her the way I wanted to, right? Because what would
Hmm.
have happened is then the thing would have been about me, and I didn't want to make it that way. But that argument is a very concerning argument. So outside in the real world, we've got a whole bunch of drug addicts. We got a whole bunch of people shooting, stabbing, and robbing. So should we be teaching classes on that in school? Like, is
Actually,
this
actually, I have an argument for that because when it
for
comes to
teaching
most,
them to
well,
do the
not
robbing?
well, no, at least marksmanship because every time there's a gang related shooting or a crime related shooting, they never actually hit the person they're shooting at. They always hit some innocent person. So I think we should bring back the rifle team and, teach them pistol basics because we're obviously, conditioning them to this lifestyle. They should at least be proficient. Hey,
Well,
you know what? They're going to go into street drugs and everything like that. Okay. You hold a gun upwards, not sideways. There's sights on the top of it. Make them accurate. I'll tell you what. The innocent shooting victim deaths or shooting victims will go down.
yep.
Obviously,
Well, I
that's complete satire. But the sad
listen.
part is, if you taught kids how to shoot, they probably crime would actually go down.
Well, it would go down. And that was the problem when you see. So there are twofold when that started to happen was when they started to remove God from the schools. Okay. When they started to do that,
1960s.
hmm when they started to do that, then they went after the Second Amendment and they started to pull that away. So back in the time, like not even within a generation, people were going to school with their rifles in their cars.
That's
You
how
know,
it
and
was around. I was to say, like, that's how it was around
yeah,
here. Like, Rochester's probably more built up than, like, the school district I was in. But again, before I was in school, it was the same thing. Kids would go out in the morning. They're out in the woods at sunup. They would,
yep,
do their hunting. They would come out of the woods when it was done, put the rifle in the back window of their pickup truck,
yep.
go to school, learn, and then go right back out to the woods right after. They would change into their, their hunting attire in the parking lot. And guess what we didn't have? School
Yeah,
shootings.
you didn't have school shootings. Well, I mean, because, excuse you, first of all, how dare you say that safe zones and gun free zones don't work? How dare you? How dare you?
But if it can
Well, but
save, remember, if it can save just one life, cool. Do abortion next.
well, I mean, they don't right. But well, if it can save just one life, isn't that the whole reason to close the border? Like, I mean,
Yes.
Okay,
I like.
I told you. I already told you. I freaking I love you. Like because you are. It's just you're doing the same thing that I do in my brain. You're using their own arguments to prove them wrong. So,
I
oh,
just
well, if it's going to save one life, we should probably not have abortions or allow criminals into the country without proper vetting. That's not what I meant. I just want to violate white people's rights. No, that's actually not how it works because in the United States, the Constitution applies to our citizens. And, well, one of them,
hey,
uh,
how dare you? How
what?
dare you? It applies to illegal aliens according to them too.
Okay. Then go in and fill out Mr. Illegal Alien, go in, fill out the 4473 and see what the fuck happens.
Well, I look at it like this, and they that's their argument for them, and I'm like, it doesn't work that way because if it did, let me just go with them on that. Okay, let's say our Constitution did apply to them, then it means that our Constitution should apply anywhere else in the world as well,
Uh huh.
right? So our
Mm-hmm.
Constitution should apply in their country, right?
That means
So then
I.
Mm-hmm.
maybe we need to go.
That
Maybe
means
we should
I.
go and force.
Yep.
Uh huh.
Exactly. That means when I get on that plane to fly to France or Germany or anywhere else in the world, I
Communist
have.
China.
Oh, I would. You know what? I would love to take a proper weapon to China just so they can drool over it. Like, see, not some Russian copy. No, I'm 100% on board with that. If you feel that our Constitution extends beyond our borders to every single human being on Earth, which you know what, I would really love for it to do that because I think it's a wonderful document, but it's not the
I'm an
reality.
imperialist, so you can't. I'm an American imperialist, so you're not telling me nothing that I don't want. So
Yeah, I mean, I would love for that to be the case, but it's unfortunately it's not going to be because unless they recognize our Constitution in other countries, f you
yep.
guys, sorry, but
Well, and I'm joking about being an imperialist, but not really though, right? Only by the fact that we don't have a crown here, right? Like, but I think
Mm-hmm.
that as an American, I'm speaking as an American, I believe that America should rule the world as an American. Okay,
well,
that's my.
we've been holding it together since World War I, so I
Oh, but
think we.
this is that's the problem, and I got a solution for that too, right? And all the illegal aliens. I'm with them on the illegal aliens. Okay, I'll break even with you. You want the illegal aliens to come here? Got you. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take 13 generations worth of resources from whatever country they came from. It's only fair. It's only right. So we'll take 13 generations of resources from whatever country they're in. And if they don't have that in cash or gold bullion, we'll take it in the form of land. Okay? So we will take it in the form of annexing parts of their country. Oh, we've got 31 million different people that came in illegally under Biden. Oh, 70, what will we say? Like, let's just say there are 10 million of them were Venezuelan, right? Let's just, for instance, not saying that 10 million of them are Venezuelan, right? Let's just say 13 generations worth of resources for 10 million Venezuelans is one, two, three, no more Venezuela. That's what it means. It means now you're talking about Venezuela being incorporated in the US. So completely annexing the whole country. If that's what you want, I'm right on board. You're not selling me something I don't want. So let's go do that. But you're not talking realistic to me. If we're going to take those people, they need to be giving us the resources to support them and their family. I'm more than happy to take them. You don't want to support them. So let their
Well,
country support them.
well, my next question, two questions actually, and one is one, what would you do about the illegals in your area? And
Send them all
two,
back.
what do you think about people who say there's no illegals on stolen land?
Okay, roll, get out my country. If you
um
feel if you feel that way, if you feel that way, leave. Just put your money where your mouth is. I say now, and people say, "Oh well, ugh," and they get all emotional and feelings and stuff like that. I say the same thing to conservatives and Republicans too when they get out there and they're like, "Oh my God, somebody got shot or somebody got hurt or oh my goodness, the crime is so bad." Where are you? I don't see you
Exactly.
anywhere. I see the crazy. I did a video, and Johnny, you might not have seen this, but I did a video a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago now, where they had because of the Tom Homan thing, right? And the Sanctuary City, they had these people outside protesting, talking about, oh well, we are a sanctuary city, all this crazy stuff, right? So I'm like, I don't agree with them, but look at them. They're out here protesting about this thing.
Thank you.
You care so much about the crime in our area, you got the nerve on the internet to say, "Oh, well, crime is bad and the mayor doesn't care and city council is trash and all of this is bad and thoughts and prayers." And I don't want your thoughts and prayers. Right. I don't want you to
It's
be a
all
keyboard
this.
warrior. I need you to get out, put your money where your mouth is, okay? Stand up, okay? And actually get active. I'm not even asking for the world. Start by going to a city council meeting, or
King,
even,
King David, King David prayed to God, but he still took action.
but this is, and I say this frequently. These people want somebody to come down out the sky or on a white horse and come save them, and we got to realize and
Mhm.
understand nobody is coming to save us. We are all we got. You know, we
Mhm.
got all these crazy people are out here doing all of this stuff, protesting and all of this and all of that, and you're like, oh, well, they're wrong and all of this. Okay, they're wrong, but look who's here, and look who's not. So
And
how can you possibly? Uh huh.
you're right. Our a lot of people on our side makes all the complaints,
Yep.
but they're nowhere. But hardly any of us are hardly ever to be found.
There's
But the
zero follow through.
leftists, they'll work overtime to
Yes.
protest. They will work
Yes.
overtime to attack any conservative thoughts.
Yep.
That's why they're winning in the court of public opinion, because
That
they're out
part.
there and they are very good at making their side seem like the victim. You know,
Yep.
look what Tom Homan's going through right now. I think the immigration system in this country is absolutely bonkers.
Yep.
Right now, I'm going to tell you, if Republicans, especially having the majority, at least for a little bit right now, they have the
Right.
ability to win the hearts of the world.
Right.
Figure out a way to streamline our immigration system so the people who are legitimately trying to become citizens and they're like, I want to escape this hellhole I'm coming from, help them become citizens. Help them get processed. Help them get into the system, because we're failing the world when it comes to that. And that's why they're falling back onto the coyotes and the drug cartel, because that's how they can get here. That's the risk they're willing to take. The problem that our country has, we're so freaking soft. We look for things to be upset about.
Yep.
That's how good we have it here. We literally wake up in the morning and say, well, my life's not shit, so what can I be upset about? And then we dig and we dig. Meanwhile, there's a lot of people, a whole lot of people that just want a better life. We have the ability to give them that better life without paying for it. All we have to do is somehow integrate them into our society and then welcome them with the open arms that our country is. We are the melting pot. We are the cool motherfuckers on the earth. But no, we're just. However,
Well,
I said we should reform it so we can get more people that want to be here in. I also agree with Tom Homan. You're not breaking up families when you deport them together.
Well, you're very much more.
Remember, Jasmine
Mhm.
Crockett also says, "Oh, the illegals are willing to pick cotton." It's like,
Are you talking about that dumb broad who had the nerve to pick on Abbott for being in a wheelchair?
no,
Is she
I'm talking about the one they call Hood Rat.
Yeah, you said Crockett,
So
right? Because I'm
yeah,
pretty sure Crockett's the one
that's
who
what he's
referred
talking
to.
about.
Yeah, she called him Wheels. Now, yes, I have a very, very
Hot,
dark sense of
excuse you,
humor.
it was Hot Wheels. Okay, get it right.
All right, well, you know what? That's cooler. Yeah, that's right, Governor Hot Wheels down there. Now, I'm a realist. I find the humor in things that I probably shouldn't. I thought it was funny because I'm missing part of my soul. But it was not. That's not something that, if you're going to represent a group of people and be on television, knowing that clip is going to be all over the world within minutes, that's just not something you say. especially because, oh, what party is she from? Oh, the Democrats. How do they lean? Oh, to the left. Oh, what do the left do? Oh, well, you can't pick on people with disabilities unless they're Republican. And that's my problem with the Democrats. Everybody has the right to be who they want to be until you don't fit inside of our stupid little box.
That's exactly what it is.
Well,
That's
everyone.
exactly what.
I think, Quinn, I think we should just go into overtime. Let's go into
Well,
overtime.
actually, we're actually we are actually in overtime. So we're gonna do our final thoughts. And Marcus, I would love to have you on again. Anytime you want to come on, you just text me and say this is the week, and I will put you on. It, assuming I don't get someone like Natasha Owens on
Ah.
again.
They,
But my
we could
final
combine.
thoughts is Rochester and Allentown are pretty much similar. We get outside millionaires trying to build into our towns while our politicians are benefiting off it. Also, crime is up, even though some say it's down because they're big fat liars. Our education system is so bad that people can't think outside of what they're indoctrinated with.
Hmm.
Um, and and it's like, and, and then and then of course, um, and then people like us, I'm sure you get haters too, Marcus.
Plenty,
Yeah,
plenty.
who say, "Well, you're not qualified for this position," just because you're pointing out real issues instead of because you don't have a D to your name, which is kind of pathetic. And I have to ask you this before we go.
Hmm.
Have you ever been called a coon by any of your
Many,
haters?
many times. So here's the deal with that type of insanity. So I'm not one for racial tropes at all. I think that the worst thing that you could do is, oops, I hit the wrong button. The worst thing you can do is use racial tropes um, in an argument, because essentially you've got nothing less. Like, it's like when they say that, oh, you do an attack at ad hominem on somebody's character versus their actual argument. And this is a very serious situation. They'll call you whatever they can to try to discredit you. When
Like
you
me, a
are,
racist, and you a coon.
yeah, so, but it's more than that. And that's the type of stuff that'll get somebody with their, how you say it? That'll get somebody's wig split back black. Okay, like you just don't go around throwing racial slurs because it's okay. So now, and I know we're going into overtime, so I want to bring that back. So there's this concept, and this type of stuff comes from white racist nonsense. Like, that is a white racist term. So for anybody, whether they're black or white, to use that term, it is an affront to blacks, and that's a very serious problem. What it's used is it's to discount somebody, to say that they are not who they are, and that's a problem. Maybe they aren't who they are. Okay, but maybe they're saying what they believe or what they stand on, and that's what they are. Like, if somebody tells you they're a communist, believe they're a communist. Like, you're telling me that this is what you stand for. Okay, I guess so. I don't have to like it. Now I'm going to pick apart your ideas because they're stupid trash. But I'm not going to attack you personally because I think that you think differently than me. Okay. I just think that you're cuckoo crazy. Okay. And that's fine. There's a lot of cuckoo crazies out here. I feel like a lot of the people are out there like that guy on the Cocoa Puffs box, okay, just jumping all around, and they need to get the men in white in white suits to come pick them up. But but the fact of the matter is this: when you start calling people that are encouraging open dialogue on serious issues with others, even though they might have a different concept than you, that's a problem. When you start calling them names, especially when you start delving into the racial issue. And I'll give you this as we get ready to close here, for something for everybody to think about. We talked about the immigration and stuff right now. So right now, Trump made a very serious mistake. Okay, he's bringing in these Afrikaners, okay, the Boers from South Africa, and he's saying, "Oh well, they're being genocided over there and all this and all." This is complete lies. It's a complete lie. And the problem is not only do they have a better quality of life over there than we have over here, they don't like white Americans. Like, wait till they find that out. Wait till they find that out, because they feel that they are superior to everyone. But more than that, if you actually look at the history of what happened over in South Africa up to the last 1994 is when apartheid ended. They were burning black people in the street, in the street. And they're not even black, they're South Africans. But for everybody that's watching, the melanated individuals in South Africa, okay? You know, so in the street, like, this is what they do. Like, that's like a regular thing for them. And you got to look up the South African National Party, because that's their party. Look it up, okay? Like, these people, when you talk, oh, somebody's KKK or somebody's a neo-Nazi, y'all don't know what you're talking about, but they do, because they definitely were. And that type of stuff does not go away. And the scariest thing to me is how they're being propped up as these individuals that are so needy and that they're going after them, and they're not. I don't want to say I wish that they were, just so that they could be right about it, but I wouldn't want them to, even if it was a thing that was happening, but it's not happening. And there's many of them, and you can talk if you know any South Africans, okay, or anybody like that. Like, they're like, I don't want to come here. They're like they're like, the U.S. is trash. Like, they do not. Most of them do not want to be here. Okay, so if they want to say something bad is happening over there, look at what happened to the Indians that got ran out of South Africa. Go look into that. That happened a couple years ago. They got ran out of South Africa. So if you're talking about something's happening to them and you're missing what happened to the Indians, not feathers, red dot. Okay, let me be clear. Okay, so the Indians.
Yeah.
So they got ran out of there.
Gas stations, not casinos.
Exactly. So they got ran out of there real bad, and in a bad way. What's happening in South Africa is a breakdown of the social structure because of the switch in power to a new form of government, which was based on previously of complete. Think of it like this. Remember what happened when communism fell in Europe, and all of the different nations went into complete poverty and stuff like that? That's exactly what's happening in South Africa right now. Because what they had, the form of government that they had, only a few people had, and everybody else did not have. So the even on the lower ranks, which the Boers largely weren't, like, so the farm owning ones were not were not low on the totem pole. So you're talking about, like, and you could see, like, some of there are some of the South African whites that live in, like, terrible conditions, just like South African blacks, because the country is, it's to borrow a word from Trump, it's a shithole. It is, and they're trying to work on it. You know, they're trying to get it back together. That's why they're talking about redistributing the farmland. Now, people are like, well, let them do that anyway, because what will end up happening is they won't be able to farm because they don't know how to farm. Listen, that's not my concern. What's going on in South Africa is not my concern. But if you're going to let anybody in, and again, I encourage you to look up the National Party, look up South Africa's ties to the Nazis, look up South Africa's biological warfare program. Look all of this stuff up. Okay, like I'm not just spinning wheels here. These people are real serious problems, and they don't like Americans at all. They do not like white Americans, especially. Like, you think they don't like black people? You think that they don't like black Africans? They don't like anybody because they feel like they're better. It's like, you guys ever played what's it? Is it not Castlevania? What's the one with the Nazis? The other one. Um Dang. Oh man. Oh, it's
Wow.
Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein. Y'all
Mm,
ever play Wolfenstein?
no,
So
never
there's
even heard of it.
so
grew
Wolf
up. I grew up with one toy. It was called Outside.
and you better be in by the lights come on.
Yeah, go figure.
You know, but
Go outside and enjoy it, but only for a little bit.
yes. So there's this game called Wolfenstein, and there's this one clip. I encourage you guys to look it up. So it's where the basically Wolfenstein is, it's got these guys and they're essentially Nazis or whatever, and they're in the US and they come across some KKK members. Now, remember, the Nazis are supposed to be like these, oh, white supremacists, you know, the white is right type of stuff, right? And the Nazis were dressing down the KKK, talking all types of trash about them and all types of stuff like that, and calling them lowbrow and all of this and all of that. And they had to be subservient to that, you know? Yeah.
To be fair, I do put KKK members below the Nazis.
I am not going to. I'm not.
And I know
You're
you've
not.
seen the movie scene I'm going to mention is American History X, when they're in the laundry room and he's explaining to Edward Norton's character about the KKK. Today we're going to hate some. We don't know what they are, but we're going to hate them. They're idiots.
Yeah.
That's why they hid their face, because they were idiots. And they knew
but
they were
this
idiots.
and this is how they feel about white Americans, you know, and that's what people need to understand. But by the time that they see that, it's going to be too late, and I'm very concerned that that's the way that we're going. And they shouldn't be letting them in, and they definitely shouldn't be giving them refugee status, because one, it's not that bad over there. It's not good, again,
No.
but it's not that bad over there. But number two, if we're talking about reforming the system and stuff like that, I'm against H-1B visas. I don't think any of them people should be coming here. Okay, I think we should be training our own people. And I know you, Johnny, you were saying that you want to bring more people here. I don't want to bring anybody here. I want us to build up our.
I want to build the path for the people who want to be here, want to respect the country that they're coming to. I'm not saying just bring everybody in. Also, because it's the same token, if I knock up my fiance and we go to France on a vacation, and
Ooh la la.
and a kid's born in, I would never go to France. But if the kid's born in France, is that kid a French citizen?
No.
No. Does that, and if that kid is not a French citizen, that means we are not French citizens. So why are we the only nation on earth that, because you go on a vacation, and I'm going to use the worst possible term for a child, but unfortunately it's going to make sense for what I'm saying. If I go to a country and pop out a fuck trophy, why do I get citizenship?
It's an anchor baby.
Exactly.
Gotta have an anchor baby. You know, but this is the
but we can't separate the family. And again, Holman said it perfectly. That's why we send them all back. We send them all back as a group. We're not separating anybody. It's hey, group vacation, kids. Get in a van.
That's right. We're about, the way I see it is this: when it comes to the immigration, we need to stop all immigration of any kind for 10 years and sort out the issues that we have internally in our country before we start letting more people in here. We've got so much issues with our immigration backup right now. That's crazy. We also have people coming. Go ahead.
I would say question for you.
Yeah.
So obviously, we have been a capitalist country. We've been utilizing these. What's the term that are being used? Oh, undocumented. We've been using these undocumented people to fill positions on, whether it's agriculture, whether it be hotels, like maid staff for, like homes, landscaping,
Mhm.
all that stuff. Are we going to go after the companies who willingly hired these people knowing that they were not citizens?
I don't understand how they're not going after these people. I was watching a thing in, I can't remember where it was. It was either New Mexico or it was maybe it was Tennessee. It might have been Tennessee. I think it was Tennessee now that I'm thinking about it. And they
It's
had this
hitting
one,
weird places. It's hitting places that
yeah.
you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, they had this one strip mall area, and they were like, "Oh, ICE has been here, and people are scared to come out, and all of this and all of that." And I'm like, "People are scared to come out, like, and be there? Like, what exactly are they scared of?" So they and people aren't coming to work. People aren't coming to work. Wait, so you mean that you're hiring people that do not fit the ability to pass the I-9, which is like the first form you have to hand in within 2 weeks of working, right?
Bingo.
So you mean to tell me, and then they got business owners talking about, oh, they came and they raided my business and they took these people. Go to jail. You need to be in jail. You need to be in jail.
Exactly. You broke the law as a business owner. You hired somebody who is not a citizen. You lied, and I'm
You
sorry.
knew.
Like, look, I'm gonna view this the same thing. You can't make them work for free, which would be like definition of slavery 100%. But you're gonna pay them $2 an hour,
Which goes against the 13th Amendment.
and so why are these business owners, why are these companies not being gone after? Like, I'm sorry. I think if you go into a business and you find out like the majority of their staff is illegal immigrants, one, you broke the law, so you should be drug out in cuffs ahead of everybody that you went there to get. And I want to see you tried. I want to see you, see some jail time, because you're part of the problem. You're willing to hire these people, so they like, oh, well, I'm going to go there and I'm going to get hired, and I'm not going to make a lot of money, but it's going to be a better situation than I was coming from.
That's right.
Follow the rich white man.
That's but this is see,
3 minutes.
That makes too much like right, and we can't have that. No, because there's no penalization for that. Now they're putting these people now. I don't even know. Like, you've opened up a serious can of worms there. Like,
sorry.
How can they run these businesses? And it's destroying our communities, right? So I'll tell you why it's destroying our communities. Because they're like, well, nobody wants to do those jobs. So does that mean nobody was doing those jobs for the past 4 years before they got here? Hello, somebody let me understand. Make it make sense to me now. Come on now. Explain it to me like I'm 5, okay? Like, I need to understand. Well, so nobody was doing any of these jobs. Nobody was doing hospitality. Nobody was working in the farms. Nobody was doing construction. Now, I want to take this to a place real quick and take this small journey with me. So, and somebody out there isn't going to like it, but I'm going to say exactly what I said, and I said whatever I said. Okay. Here's the deal. All of those jobs are traditional everyman jobs. Anybody can get those jobs. You're talking hospitality. You're talking picking stuff in the fields.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're talking what's the other one that they like to say all the time? Factory jobs and stuff like that. So, I mean, you're talking about all of these different jobs that anybody can get, and everybody was getting. Now, the crazy part about that is these jobs largely, if you went back to, like, let's say the 80s or the 90s, largely would be considered black jobs. So when I see a lot of people get out here and they're like, "Oh well, it's not hurting anybody." And here I have to look at the Black American community being short on employment and all of these jobs, construction being a very major one. Okay, go look if you're not familiar with the Great Migration, go look up the Great Migration, which was the blacks from the South coming up north and building up the North because they were the ones who were skilled in the trades, plumbing, construction, and everything. So they built up the North, and then they tried to push them out of those positions. It was a big thing because a lot of the Italians and the Irish did not want them to have these jobs, and they were forcing them into lower paying jobs and stuff like that. Which that kind of sounds very similar to what's going on right now.
Just a wee bit.
you know so I always encourage people, listen, don't believe me because I'm saying it, believe me because I'm telling you, and go look it up. Okay, go look it up. The receipts are out there. But this is what we have to understand. If we're going to be putting these people in these positions that you're saying that nobody else wants to do, we have to start asking ourselves, why does nobody want to do them? Why does nobody want to do them? And how is that an excuse when we've got the central budget office and budget of off what was it? Budget of Office of Budget Management out here talking about in the next 5 years that machines are going to take all the jobs. So what are they going to be doing in 10
Hmm.
years if machines are going to take all the jobs in 5?
Oh, well, we're just going to tax the ever loving crap out of these companies and give everybody universal basic income.
Yeah, but now we've got an extra what? 10 years from now they got kids and stuff like that. Now we got an extra 100 million people.
I mean,
Now we got an extra
Mm,
100 million
something
people.
like that.
are you
So
really expecting the government to do something that makes
Mm.
sense and like have some sort of future forethought at all? Because everything they do, it's all knee jerk. It doesn't matter what it is. All they get, so they can go up there on TV and say, "I
did he freeze?
Yeah, he.
He froze.
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
He was getting too real. That's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, our technology is simple, but but Marcus, it was an honor to have you on, and I would
Oh,
love to
brother.
have you again, along with three of my friends, to which I think you would like, unless if you probably already know them, who knows? But two of them moved. A couple moved from Chicago to Texas, and then the guy is from that area in Chicago, which is ironic. Um, but that was okay. So his internet dropped, is what happened. He said,
Ah,
"Yeah." So, but yeah, I would love to have you on with Choo Choo, Zaza, and the Chicago Conservative. You should see them. How I mean, they post some pretty interesting things up, and Zaza, she gets into plenty of arguments with the loonies who think criminals should be prioritized over law-abiding citizens
yeah,
and
that's what we're
illegals
not
over
doing.
bad. Huh?
I said that's exactly what we're not doing. They swear.
you got
Yup.
you got my text
But
you got my text message."
yeah, I got it. Your internet fell.
Freaking living out in the woods, people driving into trees and shit. Learn how to drive drunk better.
Who knows? Maybe it's the FBI trying to knock us all off because we're making too much sense.
They're just confused
That's
because they're confused because of the blacked out SUV that's parked in my driveway all the time. Like
Mm,
they think they're already here.
yep. But hey, it was good to have you, Marcus. You are more than welcome to come back on. any given time, just let me know. We'll definitely plan it. Um, and and if you want to promote my T-shirts, I would definitely send you one, and I'll pay you for it.
All right, we can talk about that. Yeah. Oh, and shameless plug, you guys. If you're still watching, check out my website, Marcus, the number 4Rochester.com. I am running for city council in the city of Rochester. You can find out a little bit more about me and do donate. You don't even have to be local to donate. And check me out on Facebook, X, wherever else you find me, YouTube. I'm all over the place. Marcus C. Williams. I appreciate you. Johnny, it's great, great, great meeting you, brother.
Absolutely,
I
dude.
enjoyed your company.
Oh,
Anytime if you come down to Pennsylvania, if I come up to Rochester, I'm gonna find you, and I owe you whatever beverage of choice you have.
That's it. Sounds good to me, good brother.
well,
All right. Let me get ready to get out of here. I will
well,
catch you
all
guys
right.
later.
Alrighty, have a good night, everybody.
Absolutely. And good night, audience, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
We out.
Peace.